Okay, while I'm waiting for our last guest, I have a quick quiz here. Okay, he's got one down now, the hard question. I want you to write down on a piece of paper in 3 seconds, and then I'll tell you the answer at the end. How many megapixels did I use and was the camera that I used to take that picture? Just glance, write down your best guess of a number. What we're going to be working with is business on a tablet, and everybody has tablets of all kinds. I'm going to be talking primarily from the iPad view because I happen to have an iPad, and the majority, if you count heads around here, the majority in this organization have iPads, but this is what I happen to use. And here are 3 issues that I'm going to address. One is Office apps on a tablet, and that's kind of the heart of everything. People say, I'm not going to buy a tablet if I can't run Microsoft Office. And so I want to address that. Another big issue is file exchange between all kinds of devices, which is a major headache for people today. And very lastly, a little bit of time on the whole subject of remote login, so that if you can't do something on your tablet, you can at least get to a computer that can do it. Now, I have not given up my serious computer, which is a 27-inch Mac, which I do with like 3 terabytes of hard drive because I do a lot of video work, I do a lot of website and different things like that, so I chew through the hard drive pretty fast. But what I have done is I replaced my laptop with a tablet. Laptops have been called portable, but they've never been called convenient. And you know, I go to a Starbucks or someplace to do a little work, and what do I see over in the corner? People huddled around like there's a fire, and they're all trying to keep warm over here. And what are they doing? They found the outlet. And they're all plugged in with all these outlets with these portable devices. But the battery life really is not that great on most of them, and most people come and do a presentation. What's the thing they look for? The connection to the projector and the outlet, because the thing's out of juice already. They've been using it for part of the day. Here's just the comparison of mine on the right, my iPad, using a keyboard. If you're interested in physical keyboards at all, and I really like it for typing, I'll just tell you the name of this one. It's very popular. I see it all the time. Best Buy sells them. It's called Zagg, Z-A-G-G. Show a movie. I was very lucky. I found the video of the very first IAAP meeting. You can find a lot of things on Google and YouTube. And so I thought you might. It actually was here. It was at Rutgers. Did you know that? Years ago. And as I found out, they were a huggy bunch. Just like today. I mean, same thing as today, right? I do want to introduce a special guest that is accompanying me today. Her name is Kathy Johnson. She's the president of the Midwest Society of Association Executives. Kathy, wave to the crowd. Some of you may have heard about MSAE, but I'll just tell you one thing about it. It's called the Association of Associations. So if you belong to an organization like the Minnesota Hospital Association, the Trial Lawyers Association, the Realtors Association, those executives belong to Kathy's association, MSAE. And I thought there was a lot of reasons that her organization and your organization ought to be connected, and I also wanted her to come and listen to my little talk, so that's why she's here. Thank you, Kathy. The first one, I won't directly answer it now, but it's a thing you ought to think about as people are talking about the comparison between, say, buying an iPhone or buying an Android phone of some kind. And that is, why do Android phones outsell Apple by a long ways, but Android tablets do not? What is the difference if you were going to buy a phone or a tablet in how you would approach the decision, so that you might more likely buy an Android phone, but more likely buy an Apple iPad? We can talk about that with whatever time is left over. Here's another good one. Why is Apple versus Google, the big battle today, one of them, different than Apple versus Microsoft 30 years ago? And I will just tell you one thing, and that is that In 30 years ago, some of you probably weren't born yet, but I remember it very well. At that time, Apple was 5 years ahead of Microsoft when Microsoft decided and IBM decided to roll out a PC. Had a 5-year lead on them, about 4 years. Now, Apple has a close to 5-year lead over Microsoft. And what did Microsoft do in October? And what are they going to do tomorrow? They're going to roll out their big guns of a tablet computer. 3 years after Apple's tablet, 5 years after the iPhone. Is there a chance that they'll do the same thing? Are they going to steamroll it over based on their business connections? Is this going to allow Microsoft to rise to the top? They did it before, and with no question who won that first round. And here's a big one. What's the future of mobile advertising? Because the survival of Facebook and Google depend on the answer to that question. Is it bright? Is it good? Is it prosperous? Or is it not? So we will get into a few of those things in just a minute. This is one of my complaints about how the word friend and like were both changed unilaterally by Facebook. I wish they'd come up with two different words, you know, a sort of friend or something. But anyway. I bet you some of you got this message. I put my own title at the top, and you may be a winner, but I got it 8 days ago, and it was a notice from Facebook that said that they may have sold my information to an advertising company, including my picture, including all the information I've given them, the things I posted, the things I do like, don't like. They may have put that out for somebody to put in an ad. So my name may be associated with something that has absolutely nothing to do with anything I like, and yours may be too. And I don't know if the whole billion people got a letter like this, and I'm not a big Facebook user, and I got one of the letters. Anybody else get one? Yep. And the great news is if you fill out this 3-page form, you can print it or you can do it online, they'll probably send you $10. Now, they couldn't send $10. The easy way is just say, okay, you got a billion people, send them all $10. That's $10 billion. They had to find a way to trick people into getting it down to the $200 million they said they would pay. So they go through this whole form deal. Whoever sends in the form is going to get the $10. And if there's any money left over, it's going to go to the charity of their choice, I guess. This is a copy of the form if you need one. The whole publishing industry is in total disarray, trying to figure out how they're going to deal with the mobile devices instead of paper magazines. I have friends who say to me, well, boy, I like printed newspapers. I like the feel of that newspaper. That's really what I like. And I said, did any newspaper publisher ever come to you and ask you what you liked? And the answer is no. The newspapers are going to die. Newsletters are gone. A lot of technical journals, those are all online. So it's a gradual, long, slow decline in printed publications that's not reversible. So, you know, this is what we're going to be adapting to, whether I or anybody else likes it, just because the circulation's going down, the costs of printing and distribution are going up. Now, the question is, why is this day different? The day with the tablets and the smartphones, what's the big deal? Well, people say, oh, you know, things they just change all the time. New gadgets and new gadgets. And I'm going to disabuse you of that notion that things have been changing rapidly. Let's go back to 1980. Recognize that game? Yeah, it used to be an old puzzle. This is what it was called. There's a new version of it, and it's traumatic, and it's called Where's Waldo's File? That's my invention, because this is serious for me, and maybe for everybody. But Waldo's File might be on my desktop computer, my iPad, my iPhone, my Dropbox, or Notesy, which is a note app which syncs with Dropbox, email, photo library, iCloud, backup drives, USB drives, or more than one. And I spent a ton of time. I mean, it's a nightmare getting the current version of it. You know, this is being synced over here all of a sudden, and then maybe I made a copy and it's on my desktop. And all of a sudden I'm wondering, okay, the answer to the pixel question was, what did you write down? 16. 1.3 megapixels.
How come it looks so good?
Because megapixels are completely overblown as importance. I took it with a 1998 $800 first digital camera ever, because that's when my grandkids were born. I bought the camera. and that rose was laying on 1.3 megapixels. That rose was laying on a kitchen table. I just had my camera and I just took a picture and walked away. That's all the preparation. But people are using this megapixel like horsepower. You know, this car will go 140 miles an hour, but the speed limit